Next on Married People's Business.
Our season 2 opener, what makes a man marriage material?
This episode will go into critical factors, fellas, on what makes women want to take you home to mama.
Stay tuned.
Right, that's that music, that's the sound, so you know what that means?
We're back.
We're back with episode 1, season dose of Married People's Business, and I am Michael Tober, here with my beautiful co-host.
Shilise Tober, thank you so very much.
Oh man, we've been gone away from the people for a little while, but we're back, and we're here to bring you some more Married People's Business. And if you've been gone away for a little while, we want to make sure we re-engage you, and we want to tell you exactly what this podcast is about. Podcast is about highlighting married couples, highlighting the positivity that comes along from collaborators and married people that are in business. And from time to time, we'll have some very dynamic hosts on, people that are married, that are in business together, giving you tips. But that's not all we do. What else do we do, Shalice?
Sometimes we just get into the nitty-gritty of life, man, and talk about what's going on with life, talking about what's going on in the world, and you know how that affects relationships.
Which is what we're going to do today. And today's topic is drum roll.
What makes a man marriage material? Ladies, what are we looking for?
I know the fellas want to talk about this one because all these brothers trying to get chose.
Yeah,
they trying to get chose. I choose
or
you, baby.
They dropping numbers, having to make calls and whatnot. But no, we're going to talk about what, at least in my opinion and some of the circles I've been in, what qualities make a man marriage material.
Yeah, and this is very topical because today is Valentine's Day.
Yes.
And ironically, this is, I shouldn't say ironically, but as a good thing, this is the first day we started this podcast. We launched Married People's Business on Valentine's Day, and it's only fitting that we come back to you for episode 1, season 2 on Valentine's Day and have a Valentine's Day theme.
Well, you know, it's all about the love. Whether it's the love in the marriage, love in your partnership, love in your business. It's right. All about love.
It's all about love today. So what we're going to talk about is, fellas, how do we become better folks to put ourselves kind of on the radar for being, you know, chosen or selected as a person.
I love that you say chosen.
You know, every night, fellas, we want to be chosen too.
You know, we don't choose though, because you know, y'all got to pop the question.
Well, you know what? What's so funny about that is that I think men are very presumptuous. I know I was, because I went out and spent all that money on your wedding ring. And I didn't even know if you was going to say yes or not. I didn't know if I was marriage material. So that's one of the things that I want to talk about, because when we go to K and or the flea market, wherever you get your diamonds from or your rings from so you can propose to these women, we buy these rings thinking like, man, I know there's no way in the world this woman going to tell me no. Once I bend this knee and once I give her this diamond, she's going to say yes. That's the presumption. But, fellas, we have to work ourselves up to that. And we have to make sure that we have the qualities and the characteristics of what makes us marriage material. And this is what we're going to talk about today. So let's get started.
So let's talk about it. Yeah. I think me personally, the first thing that comes to mind, and just, again, I want to put the disclaimer out there. This is me, my subjective opinion. This is not based on any empirical data or surveys and none of that good stuff. This is me and my girls. We can talk, you know, whatever. And some of the stuff that's come up over the years, you know. So,
well, first of all, what I want to do is I don't want Shalice's Tolbert opinion today. I want Shay Rob. I want pre-2006.
Pre-2005.
2000. Well, that's when I proposed.
Yeah, you proposed in 2005. We became a couple 2003.
Yeah.
We've been together for 20 years.
We have been together for 20 years. So I want like when you was out in them streets.
I was out in them streets.
Yeah, when you was out in the streets, man, before, you know, me and you were technically together. That's the opinion I want. I don't want this churchy Christian married woman opinion. What I want is the streets. I want to hear the streets talk on this podcast. That's what I want, because that's what the ladies want.
Okay.
The ladies want to hear the streets. They want to know what they should
I'm
be.
not gonna be real.
Okay, that voice sounds kind of Christian-y, but okay. You gonna give it to the people? Okay, let's go.
So I was giving my disclaimer, so you said I was sounding Christian.
Christian-y.
I can't even get past that. So I'm gonna say the first thing for me, we're not talking about, because you don't dive right into love. It doesn't just.
I used to dive right into love.
That wasn't love.
Quite frequently.
That was not love. And back. So the first thing I think, personally, is about friendship. Not the friend zone, but friendship.
Okay.
Because there's a difference.
Right.
We put people in the friend zone that we're not trying to have nothing with.
All right.
But being genuine friends, and I know that to me that says that there's a genuine care for one another. I care about my friends deeply. I celebrate my friends' triumphs. I'm there when they have, losses. It's nothing, no questions, no ifs, ands, buts about it. There's a genuine love there as a person, as just the relationship that you have then. So I think being friends is important, because eventually, if you get married, you got to be friends. I think that, love isn't going to always be the only factor that saves anything in relationships. So if y'all can't be friends, then, it's going to be challenging to have a very happy and long marriage.
So when you're looking for a man or a husband, are you telling me that what makes him marriage material is he has to be your friend first? So what about this? I've been seeing all this stuff on Facebook. I know I sound real old.
You do.
Yeah, on the internet.
The internet.
I've been seeing all this stuff on the internet. The friend zone and curbing. Do they still say curbing?
I don't even know what that is.
Nah, you sounding real old.
I'm like, what's curbing?
The young kids used to say he curbed them. Or curbed her, whatever the case.
I don't know.
I assume reading in context, because I was in the advanced reading classes when I was in elementary. So they used to teach you how to read in context when you didn't know stuff. So reading in context, curbing means
kick to the curb.
No. It basically means that you played the person off. So if a person tried to talk to you, then you would curb them. You would not talk to them, basically. Okay. So what I would hear a lot of times is women would curb guys by making them friends. So I'm a little confused. So are you saying that a man has to be your friend in order to be marriage material? But how do you juxtapose that with the whole idea that women put men in the friend zone to keep them from being in a relationship with them?
Okay.
I need you to explain that.
So that's why I say there's a difference. So
all right.
Here it's the obvious there's going to be some kind of attraction initially for you all to even think about being in a relationship, dating, courting, whatever you want to call it.
All right.
So to get to that point, I think that there has to be a level of friendship that comes along with it.
Okay,
so
I follow you.
Not the friend zone. If I'm not interested in you in the friend zone.
That's interesting that you make that distinction. So there's a difference between having a genuine friendship as a lover and going too far into the friend zone.
Because the friend zone means that, to me, there's no interest.
Okay.
In having anything beyond the friendship.
All right.
The friendship I'm referring to is that we're courting, we're dating, we're kicking it with each other, and we're getting to know one another, and you're expressing genuine care for me. You're celebrating things with me. You know things about me that you wouldn't know if you were in the friend zone.
So like a homie, lover, friend.
Lover,
friend.
No.
Homie, lover, friend. Shout out to Esther and Melissa, my birthday twins. They get that joke. We ain't gonna leave that. I'm gonna shout them out. They understand what the homie lover.
It's the worst song.
But that's what it is what you're telling me. So on a scale of 1 to 10, if a man is trying to be marriage material, with 10 being the highest level of friendship that you can have, the fellas, we don't want to be a 10. We kind of want to be like around about a 5-ish or so. So we
No.
want to be your friend a little bit, but not enough to the point where you won't think about us in an intimate way. Is that a good way to look at it?
No, because it's two different things. When
Okay.
I'm not interested in you at all, you're automatically in the friend zone. When we are interested in
All
one
right.
another, that does not put you in that same type of zone
Okay.
as you use the term.
So the friend zone is a whole nother category.
Exactly.
All right. I'm
So,
learning. I'm learning.
so
It
a
took me while,
friendship
but-
that we're creating as we're getting to know one another, then that shows to me that there's genuine care developing, that you're interested in what I do, I'm interested in what you do, and it's not just a physical thing. It's like, okay, I'm learning this person.
So how as a man, it sounds like the friend zone is a bad zone to be in if you're trying to hit. So
If all you try to do is hit, then we're not
okay,
talking about
if I'm
marriage
trying
material.
if I'm trying to marry you and hit,
Get back.
so
Get back.
how do I stay out of the friend zone? This is the friend zone.
If I don't like you, you in the
How do
friend
I-
zone.
I can't stop the friend zone.
I don't have any interest in you.
But I can't-
put you in the friend zone.
But I can't stop the friend zone. Is there any?
Basically,
I need some tips. Like
No.
so you can get
You,
these
you
fellas.
like my brother.
How do you stop? Okay, all right.
You
so
trying to
we
have
can't
a whole
stop
different
it.
conversation.
No, I'm not. No, I'm just saying because for guys, this is not just for women. This
I
this
know.
this is for men too. So a man
Right.
might be trying to, court a young lady and trying to, put himself in a position where he's marriage material. And if the friend zone is a bad zone to be in, then I'm trying to figure out how do we stay out of the friend zone?
But
or can
I'm
we?
talking about two different things. The friend zone is not the same friendship that I'm talking about. So
I
when
get
you
that.
all are attracted to one another and you have an interest in one another, you're developing a friendship at the same time. Friend zone, I have no romantic interest in you whatsoever.
No, I get that.
So if you're trying, you know when a woman not interested.
But you're missing my point. I get that, but what I'm saying is, how do I stay out of the friend zone? That's a very simple question, counselor. How do I?
No,
It's
it's not a simple question in the fact of you saying, here, this is what you do to stay out the friend zone. If she don't like you, she don't like you. If she's going to categorize you in that zone.
Okay, so I have no control over the friend zone.
Right, that's what I was saying.
All
it's
right,
different
okay.
from what I'm talking about with this friendship.
I follow you. I understand.
Yeah.
I get you. So I thought it was like, like I'm driving down the street and I see a stop sign and I'm
You
like,
and
I'm
your
gonna run.
hypos are just too extra.
And I see a stop sign and I'll be like, I'm just gonna run that stop sign. So I thought the friend zone was like that. Like if I see the zone, then there might be ways that I could figure out a way around it. That's all I was trying to figure out. I'm just trying to get the people information, especially the fellas. Because I see this on Facebook all the time where brothers like women and then the women put them in the friend zone. And I always was like, man, how do you figure out a way around it? But you're
She
telling
put
me
you in
you
the
can't.
friend zone because she's not interested in you in that way.
Okay. All right. So fellas, if you want to be marriage material, don't be in the friend zone, but you have to be her friend.
That's not what
That
I
makes no
said.
sense to me, but go ahead.
You're mixing apples and oranges.
All right.
So, okay.
I got you.
I'm
got
gonna
you.
move past it because that ain't what I said.
I follow you. No, you're saying that the man has to be a friend. He has to have some level of friendship, right? Y'all gotta have friendship. You gotta have a friendship, right? That's what you said.
Developing a friendship, a
Yeah,
genuine friendship.
I heard you.
wasn't talking about friend zone.
Right. No, I brought up friend zone.
Right.
Because that's a legitimate question because you're saying be a friend, but when men are put in friend zone, I thought the two, since they had friend in them, were about the same, but you broke it down and you said that they weren't. So I learned something different here, that there's no way that you can stop from being in the friend zone. So if a man wants to be married to a woman and wants to be marriage material, then he has to figure out a way not to be put in the friend zone, but he has no control over that, is what you're telling me.
There's an exception to every rule, but the way that I view the friend zone is that if there's no interest there, you're going to be in the friend zone.
Okay.
If there's no romantic interest.
Okay.
I'm not trying to talk to you on that type of deal. You know, we studied, or you like a brother to me. That's friend zone.
All right.
In my opinion.
I got
Other
you.
people could have different definitions of it.
All right. So what else I got to do? All right. I got to be your friend. I'm trying to get chose. So, all right. I got to be your friend. And what else? What else I got to
Develop a
do?
friendship. So the next thing that I think is important
All right.
is to
I'm writing
be
this down. Go ahead.
so
Number one.
extra.
Go ahead.
There's, I think, for lack of a better term, stability or goal oriented. You know,
Goal oriented. Okay.
Yeah. So I think when you're goal oriented, when a guy is goal oriented, that exhibits some traits of stability, that exhibits some traits of having something that is going to ultimately catapult them to wherever they want to be in life. This is saying to the woman, man, he's not just sitting letting things pass him by. He's doing things. He's moving forward. You know, hey, he's not just sitting still.
Okay, so all right, so I'm 48 years old, and I wanna be a rapper. It's
You
hard out there for a pimp.
Just now figuring that out.
Whoop that trick. Whoop
What
that
did you do
trick.
before that, DJ?
I was trying to start my record label.
He was trying to start.
Yeah,
So what?
I'm aspiring. So is that enough for me to be marriage material? Because I got goals. I'm goal oriented. So
Well-
what? I'm just trying to make sure. Does it matter what type of goals, or do you just have to be driven?
It's
Okay.
subjective to each
All right.
person,
All
you
right.
know. So if this is a second career for you at age 48 and you've done
All right.
something else,
I feel like you're judging me because I got a couple demo tapes. Why you judging the aspiring rappers out there?
I'm not judging anybody. I am giving you my subjective opinion.
All right, okay.
As to what I would look for in a guy to see if he's marriage material.
All right.
So what has he been doing up to that point where he's not made it as a rapper just yet? I don't know.
Maybe the right person hasn't heard his tape.
Well, if he's been trying for 25 years, then I think he needs some different goals.
And that would factor in. So that raises a good question for a guy that's trying to decide, or women who are trying to decide whether a guy is marriage material. Does it on the maturity arc or scale? Does that, the fact that the person is goal oriented, or you want them to be goal oriented, does that scale slide depending on the age? If my question is clear.
It's
if you
more of a
understand.
maturity thing and not
All right.
age, because there are a lot of people that achieve goals very early in life. So what's your level of maturity that goes along with that? And when I say goals, I mean, you know, I am a person, and you know this, you know, we plan. 5-year plan,
That's
1
right.
year plan, whatever, it's planned. So when somebody's doing that, then to me that's kind of different from the, hey, I'm the aspiring rapper and I just haven't made it yet after however many 25 years and I'm 48. What have you been doing along the way? Was it a plan? You know, that may have been something that was just on the side, and this dude could have been had a 6-figure job all those years and then was like, hey, you know what? I really want to make this come through. So I got the money to the side or whatever, and I've been working towards this. Or he could have been, working at a record company or had his own label and pushing other artists, and now he wants to be a rapper. So it's all subjective, and I know you were joking in that sense of that, but at the same time, everybody's that's really trying to make something out of their lives has some type of plan. And to see a man working towards that, diligently working towards that, is something that I think women look at.
Well, I think the reason I brought that up is because, I be in different groups and conversations with men, and one of the issues that comes up a lot of times with men is they feel that women are too hard on them in terms of their goals and dreams. So, how it seems like a very slippery slope or a subjective scale when you determine what's a worthy goal versus what a woman might feel is a non-worthy goal. You follow what I'm saying? So, like, if you got somebody that is trying to do something that woman doesn't necessarily believe is worthwhile, then they might not view it as a legitimate goal, and then they might pass up on somebody that is, that is marriage material, but you're not necessarily buying into their dreams, if you follow what I'm saying. Like, I think the example that I think of is Tyler Perry, where he was homeless. He was writing plays. Like, think about this. I'm trying to think if I was a woman dating Tyler Perry, and he came to me and he was like, yo, listen, I'm going to create this woman named Medea, and I'm gonna have this person, you know, running around and do stage plays. And all the times he was doing these stage plays, they weren't working. They were costing him money. He was homeless. Depending on what stage of life I'm in, if I'm a woman, I might think, man, this guy's a loser. He's not really going anywhere. He's make this fictitious Medea character. It doesn't make any sense. But now look at Tyler Perry. He is obviously marriage material because he's wealthy and he has his own production company. So for women, where does the line? Where do you draw the line between non-worthy goals and worthy goals?
Well, I don't think that there's something that we say are worthy or non-worthy, because this man, the example that you give with Tyler Perry, yeah, he probably wasn't trying to date at the time he was homeless, but to look at him trying and continue and not give up, that is the quality that you see, that he's driven.
Okay. Yeah, but that's a good point.
He's driven and he's going to keep trying to make something successful.
That's a really good point, and that's really the point that I was really trying to get at, is I think the average woman might have seen a homeless Tyler Perry doing plays, living out his car. That might be the type of guy that they might pass on as being non-marriage material. The average woman, if their mind is not, if they're not thinking long term.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right, and that's why
Yeah.
I joke and say, though, during those times, somebody like Tyler Perry doing that was focused on trying to make his goals happen. He wasn't trying to court nobody, so nobody was looking at him. But here's the example that I give. So people make mistakes all the time.
Okay.
And so, say for instance, you have someone who has done time in prison
Okay.
for a mistake in their early 20s or whatever.
All right.
But they get out, they trying to make their life right. They trying to get it together. They got a plan. They're working hard. They're not trying to make stupid mistakes anymore. They've matured. They've learned. That doesn't mean that that guy is out of the books, out of the woods. You know, he made a mistake. He served time. He did, paid his debt to society. He comes out. He tries to write a book. He's working 2 jobs. He's getting a degree, or whatever the case may be. So that doesn't, it is very subjective, I think. It's very subjective, but at the same time, I think it comes down to drive and, continuing to persevere.
But I guess going back to the Tyler Perry example, you said that Tyler Perry wasn't trying to date anybody. I would beg to differ. All men are always, particularly at that age, as driven as we are, we still want compatibility. I guarantee you that a man that was living out his car or homeless, he probably thought, if he wasn't trying to date, he's probably thinking, well, I'm not going to try because I don't want this woman to look down on me, and she probably doesn't think that I am worthy enough to date. So usually when you see scenarios like that, that's the reason why, which is why I think this podcast is so important, because I think that women, I'm speaking from a man's point of view right now, I think that women have to be very careful in terms of how you view guys in terms of determining whether or not you have a future with them. And I've seen too many women. I mean, I feel like I fell victim of it because I wasn't, always as polished or as put together as I am now. But I was, goofy, making jokes. I'm still goofy and making jokes. But
got married.
But yeah, right. But that's a good point. But you saw something in me that was different, and I think that sometimes women, they are short-sighted in their evaluation of a potential spouse or mate.
Well,
they look at the now and not the future.
The example that you give, the reason I say that I doubt that somebody like that would be dating is because the priorities are different. You're trying to figure out where your next meal is going to come from. You're living in your car, for goodness sakes. Is dating high up on there? Of course, I know people have physical needs, but I would think that trying to find somewhere stable to live and where's the next meal and getting some income and making these stories work would be a priority, which is why I was saying somebody like that probably wasn't dating.
I'm gonna tell you why he was dating, because every movie he in, he's reliving his dream. He put what's her name? Thandie Newton. Is that her name? Yeah. Thandie Newton. He putting all these beautiful lead ladies in his movies whenever he have a chance to put himself in the movie. So that shows you where his mind is. And my point is that men, we always want the woman. Always at the end of the day.
Didn't want a woman.
We want the woman, and we want the woman, and we want the money. Just like Scarface in the movie Scarface. First you get the money, then you get the woman, right? So, but it's funny that the Scarface reference is crazy, but it really goes to what we're talking about. Is men feel that we have to make sure that our goals are acceptable and that we have enough influence so that we can make ourselves good enough for the woman. And my point in saying all of this is I think women have to be careful not to prejudge a man before they make that decision, because you could be missing out on a good catch.
Well, I think that all of it is subjective, and what you miss out wasn't really meant for you.
Do you know what? That's a cop-out. I believe that's a cop-out. And too many women use that as a cop-out when they done messed up a relationship. And men do it too. Like, you have a good
messed
woman.
Up a relationship.
No, I'm saying.
We're talking about trying to initially court out someone.
No, we're talking about marriage material, right? So we've had too many men and women. I just think that's a cop-out sometimes. Like, you mess up a relationship and then you like, well, that wasn't meant for you. Well, no, it wasn't meant for you because you messed it up. So what I'm saying is I think that we have to stop using that sometimes as a way out and start making better decisions in our relationships. Like, I'm not going to mess something up with you and then when it's messed up say, well, that's the way God wanted it. That wasn't meant for me. Well, no, I messed it up. And God gave me free will, and he gave me the ability to use wisdom and to make good decisions. So I understand certain things happen, but that doesn't mean that we need to accelerate it by making bad decisions.
Well, I was under the impression that you were talking about overlooking someone because of their situation and judging them. So to me, when you said missed out, to me that was saying that they didn't give that person a chance because he was living in his car or this and that. Not that they were already in a relationship and messed something up.
Right. No, I mean, either way you cut it. Either way you cut it, when you evaluate whether somebody is marriage material or somebody that you want to be with, then you have to really be careful not to automatically say, well, because this guy is at this stage of his life, that doesn't necessarily mean that's where he's going to end up. Because you could be missing a billionaire, you could be missing a millionaire, or whatever the case is, because you're not buying into that person's dream. You hear that all the time. You know what I mean? Of people not being with somebody because they don't see the vision. They don't see where that person's going. And then eventually they end up not together. And then you look down the road, then you see that person living out a fantasy world that you could have lived out because you weren't with them. So that's the point I'm making.
Okay.
Yeah, so
then me saying that it wasn't meant to be is not acceptable.
No, I didn't say it wasn't acceptable. Well, what I'm saying is that I think sometimes people use that as a crutch, because you can make the life that you want, but you have to make good decisions. And I think that sometimes people say, well, we messed something up, and then it's like, well, that wasn't meant to be. Well, just because you messed it up, that doesn't necessarily mean that relationship couldn't have worked. It's a crutch, in my opinion. That's just the way I'm looking at it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So.
All right. Well, I guess I can move on to the next factor. Or...
I mean, you're the one that's telling us what makes a man marriage material, so go ahead.
Okay, so, we talked about the goals, and to me that's related to stability. But I think the next thing that comes in, kind of the two things that I tie together, and that's provider and protector.
Okay.
I think, and just kind of conversations with you, that men are innately providers and protectors to a certain degree. And so that's something that has been hard to grasp as a quote-unquote independent woman. I think that we try to do everything all the time. And me, I have a type A personality where I'm like, okay, I can get it done myself. And, I don't like to bother people. And, but I have to still work on the whole protector and provider acceptance because of the time I spent doing things on my own for myself, or thinking, hey, I don't need anybody to do anything. So when I say provider, protector, I think that it's something as simple as, hey, I've gotten the groceries and he's going to come out to the car and bring them in the house. Or, the garbage can is full, you'll automatically change the bag and take it out. Sitting with, you can see the door and my back to the door so that you can make sure that I'm protecting. Putting me on the inside when we're walking and you're standing closer to the street. I never knew that kind of stuff until you and I were together, and never understood that to be a protectionism of me.
Okay, yeah. So you viewed that when I would do those things, you viewed that those things as quality, positive characteristics that made you feel like you can feel safe with me as a husband.
Definitely, I can feel safe with you. I can feel that you are not going to do any harm or let any harm come to me.
Well, wasn't even thinking that when I was doing those things.
And those are the things that I never thought about that someone else, that a man should be doing or would be doing. It just never crossed my mind until, we're walking and you're like, hey, get on this side. And I'm like, okay, not thinking about it, but then learn to understand that's what it meant. Or, the provider thing, as, I don't have to do everything because you are there to make sure I don't have to do everything. And not that you don't want me doing anything, but that, I don't have to. I keep emphasizing have, because you're going to make sure that everything is done.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, that's a major element that women should look at when they're deciding whether someone is a man is marriage material. So being a provider, being a protector is high on that kind of that pecking order, if I'm hearing you correctly.
Yeah, and I don't want it to sound sexist,
right.
That hey, you can only do these types of things as a man. But I am a traditionalist in the sense of the word, especially when it comes to marriage and you making sure that our house is taken care of, that we have a house. Yeah, you and I both work, but I think you said to me, that I didn't have to work if I didn't want to. But, that's not what I'm going to do. But you making that type of statement said, hey, I'm going to make sure we taken care of. And to know that those are the types of things you think about, the types of values that you have, that comes out when we are friends and we're discussing what we want in life. That takes me back to my first quality.
Right.
We're getting to know each other. We're caring about what the other one thinks the future should be like for them.
Okay.
We're discussing those things. The protector thing is, I think that not only are you physically strong and you're going to protect me from any physical harm, but that you're going to make sure no one else does anything to me or our household or our family.
I'm curious because that's a factor that is that seems to be going away in today's society. So
kind of the chivalry side of it.
Yeah, right. So I'm just trying to figure out, like, for women that are listening to this, or even men that are listening, women and men that are listening to this, and they're saying, well, be a provider, be a protector, be things historically that men have always been, and that's how you put yourself in the ranks of being a person that is married, a man that is marriage material. I see so many young men out there that just they haven't even been taught those things. So how exactly do we make up that ground and put them in the space of where they are on the radar of being a man that women want to be with? You got guys wearing these tight skinny jeans and you know what I mean?
You're going into a whole different space with that.
Yeah, not really though. I mean, it's just guys are not doing things that historically guys have done. Like I don't even see guys open the door for their spouses or their girlfriends anymore. And there are a whole lot of things that I can point out, but does that send the message? Does it send the wrong message when we say, hey, he does these things that men has historically done, when that's not the way it's done anymore? You follow what I'm saying? If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, because we're in such a different time where there are a couple of things that come into play. I think when you don't have those types of actions and that conduct from young men now.
Right.
We're in a virtual state where they don't socialize the same way that we did.
Right.
You've got other issues with the family unit
Right.
where they're not taught that, but there are always, I think there's still, and don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking anybody's parenting skills.
Okay.
But I think I remember it was Steve Harvey or somebody like that saying that he taught his son from a very young age to open doors and things like that, pull out chairs for his mother, and that's where it started.
Okay.
So to me, I think it still can be taught, but what do you do about the ones that don't know it? I don't know. I don't want to say that they're totally lost.
Okay, because you would have a whole, under your rubric, you would have a whole segment of the population that are not marriage material. You follow what I'm saying?
That's what they'd be lacking in that quality.
Yeah.
But
so can it be made up? Can it be trained? Can you get married to them and then it be taught later?
Well, I think that it can be learned during the courtship, but I don't want people to think that I'm saying it's all about the chivalry either.
Right.
Because protectionism is a feeling of it's not just those types of actions of pulling out the chair or sitting, watching the door or whatever. Because there could be other things where, I see that, man, he's making sure that this doesn't happen. And, I don't know, this may sound very simple, but I'm trying to put it more so in today's terms, like the virtual bullying or something that goes on and taking up for their mate, not letting somebody say these things or keeping somebody out of the DMs. I don't know. But there are other ways that a woman can feel protected by her man. So it's a feeling and not totally narrowed down to specific actions or chivalrous actions, I should say. But I do appreciate those chivalrous that chivalrous conduct.
Yeah, and women should appreciate it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I can open the door, but I'm not about to stand there and wait till you open the door either. I don't want you to be like, well, aren't you going to open the door? For the most part, when I'm reaching for the door, you already got it before I touch the handle. So how do you teach that? I don't know. Maybe that's something that's a different topic later on where we've got our male mentors in the community doing those kind of things and trying to catch the young men. And I don't personally think you're ever too old to learn that kind of stuff because you can learn something every day from everybody, even from bad things. You can learn what not to do.
That's true.
So I wouldn't necessarily say that that's something to throw out the window. It's not a deal breaker.
Okay. All right, what else I got? How do I get chose?
Yeah, I love that you're saying, how do I get chose? Yeah. Look at Andre 3000.
I choose you. Andre 3000, that came from the Mac.
Well, I mean, but he did the whole song.
Yeah,
later,
he did the whole song. But he took that from
I know
Max
that's where he
Julie,
took it from.
Cap Alpha Psi Brother. Yo. Goldie.
3 Stacks was calling other folks, and he took the sample. So I was trying to bring it up to date, even though that's probably like 15, 20 years old.
Yes, it is old. And the movie The Mac is even older than that.
It's close to 45, 50 years old.
Yes.
But at any rate.
Yes.
All right. So the next thing, I guess I would say, there is a certain level of financial stability that comes into play. I mean, that goes back to the
I like how
I was saying.
You make things so lawyerly, financial. Why don't you just say the brother can't be broke?
No, because that's not the case. Because, we pour into one unit.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
So to be willing to pour into one unit and work towards that. So, yeah.
Ambition, financial ambition.
Absolutely.
All right.
So, because there may be times where, the woman has to pour more than the man. Stuff happens. Life happens.
That's true.
It does. So that doesn't knock you out the box. Mm-hmm. But, we look for the level of your financial capability.
Okay. I follow you.
So, hey.
Or if you're at least trying.
Yeah,
you're trying.
You're trying. You're not just sitting there waiting on somebody to hand something to you.
If you're hard. And I think we lost that a little bit in this new generation. Like, I remember back in my dad and my granddad's generation, like they would work any job to make sure that things got done. You know what I mean? Like my grandfather, you know, and my dad, steel worker. I think my grandfather worked in the coal mines. And it was just like they did what they had to do. But now it's like I think men are a little bit more selective in terms of what they will do for to make ends meet.
And and you know that comes along with society. That comes along with the change in generations.
Right.
It comes along with the change in the world and the way that entrepreneurship has taken over. The way that
Right.
employment is looked at, and it's a whole bunch of factors that go into that. But don't just sit there and think somebody's going to hand something to you, or you don't have to work for something.
So women like that, right? In terms of the quality, making deciding whether a man is marriage material is the industrialness.
Absolutely.
Right? If the man is industrious, so like if he's trying to make it happen,
right,
even though it might not be happening. This goes back to what we were talking about with the Tyler Perry example. Like he was showing a certain level of being industrious because he was doing his own plays. He was hustling to the point where he was sacrificing even his shelter to make it happen, right? So some women, and what you're saying is that's something that you would have found attractive, and that would have made you say, this guy is going to be somebody, and he's possibly marriage material because he's trying to make it happen, and eventually it will. Usually guys like that, they make it happen at some point. It's just a matter of time.
Right. So you're not just and you're not just waiting on me to push you.
Yeah, right.
Not hey, so
self-starter.
What you doing now? Yeah, definitely a self-starter. That's attractive, and then you all start working on goals together.
Yeah, that is always a good thing when couples get together and they make goals and goal plan.
Yep.
Let me ask you this question. This is a little off script, but what about, I shouldn't say it's off script because it is something that is always a key factor in determining whether or not, a marriage, whether you should marry somebody. I've seen people talk about this a lot. So, we're Christians. We both are Christians, but we're not perfect, right? So, I can't say that I waited before I got married before I had sex.
No, you can't say that, sir.
No, shoot. No, I was taking the car out for a test drive. A couple times.
So what's your question now?
So my question is, like, should that even be a factor? And again, like I said, we're not condoning fornication or premarital sex, but the reality is they're going to have sex before, a high percentage of people are going to have sex before they actually tie the knot, right?
So you're saying physical compatibility.
Yeah, so if your guy, you get with the guy and he,
I'm afraid of what example you're about to give.
Guy got a little problem, What, like,
I cannot with you.
I'm being serious.
I know, but your choice of words. Come on. Keep what is your question now?
My question is, he got a little problem, and
why you have to repeat it?
So what do you like? Is that like, okay, so he's industrious, he's got money, he protects you, he do all of these things, but he can't satisfy you. So like, is that a deal breaker or what? Like for marriage, determining whether the guy is marriage material, does he have to check that box too?
That is very subjective, but it is a box to be looked at because you just made a statement about marriage. Marriage is supposed to be forever.
Okay.
And so, just being real, if you can't be physically compatible in the intimate way, that might be something that woman cannot deal with. And there's not to say that you can't learn, because you constantly learn. You learn each other. You change things up. You want to keep it fresh. But if there's not a real physical compatibility going on in the bedroom, that may be a deal breaker for some, and be like, you know what, I can't, because this is the last person that I am going to be with if I am really truly sticking with my vows of marriage.
Well,
what the vows of marriage should be.
I just want to say for the record, you made the decision to be with me. So I was putting it down. Right?
I can't you.
I was putting down the Gamma Slammer. Because you've been with me for 16 years. So I was...
the Gamma Slammer.
I was putting down...
I am choking. I cannot with you. I'm so done with you.
Well, I'm going off of your criteria. You know what I mean? Because, hey, in order to be marriage material, you gotta put it down. You know what I mean? So I just wanted the people listening to know that you've been in this for 16 years. Strong years. So I've been doing what I was supposed to do. I was doing what I was supposed to do, putting in that work. Yes. That's all I want to do.
Thank you for letting the world know that now. The Gamma Slammer is still just, I can't get past that. I don't know what's next. What are we?
That's a good way to end the podcast with me putting down the Gamma Slammer.
Stop!
Yeah.
So those are just some of the things. Again, my disclaimer, this is my opinion based on what I am subjectively providing for conversations with girlfriends over the years. Yes, Shay Rob, pre-marriage. And, but there are a lot of things that women take into account. But, these are some good things, I think. So, guys, take heed.
I hope you listen to this podcast, fellas, so you can figure out how to be chose, selected, or whatever words you want to use. This is a great podcast. I learned a lot about Mrs. Shalise Tolbert, formerly known as Shay Rob. And if you've learned something from this podcast, what I want you to do is to smash that subscribe button, hit the like button, smash that subscribe button, hit the like button, make sure you follow us, make sure you share this podcast, and tune in for future podcasts. We love you guys. Welcome back. Episode 1, Season 2. We're out. Married People's Business.
God bless you.
God bless you. Take care.